Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Leila, the Lenormand reader, and we are doing today another pick-a-card reading with Lenormand's amazing deck. So as you can see, I've got 3 decks here, so I'm going to do 3 different readings. And the focus for today is what you will find when you turn this corner. So you could be actively pursuing a certain change, actively doing something special in your life, or maybe you're just going through normally and you're about to turn a corner, and the idea is we uncover what you're about to find. So this is Titania's fortune cards. It is pile 1. This one is the Maybe Lenormand deck. It is pile 2. And this one is my own deck, the Silhouettes deck, and it is pile 3. And as always, the timestamps are in the description box. By all means, pause the video to tune into this and to choose your pile, and I will see you in your reading. Okay, here we are with Titania's fortune cards, and let's go ahead and do a large diamond and see what you're about to find when you turn this corner. Okay, here we are with some pretty amazing cards. What really jumps out to me is that there's really a mixed bag of things. There's a lot going on here, but it's very clear that there's a lot of good stuff happening. We've got the star right in the center of your diamond, and on top of that we have the clover and the flowers. So when I see the star right in the middle of everything, I would think immediately off the top of my head that you're about to find exactly what you want. The thing about this is that we have the whip on this side of the diamond, and so the whip is a bit of a challenging card. It can rock your boat, it can upset certain situations, but it is nice to see the anchor yet on the other side of that, because it tells us that you'll be able to stand your ground in the face of challenges. Now, when I see this mix of cards here, this mix of energies, what comes to my mind off the top of my head, like immediately, is that you're about to find exactly what you want, but either some folks or something tries to compromise your position or your advantage, but I think they fail because of the anchor. So that is encouraging. Still, there seems to be like a bit of a wrestling situation here, a bit of a fight. It's like you have to fight for what you want, but then you'll get it. We also have other challenging cards. We have the mouse and the clouds. So here we're seeing that there is, some challenges that support the whip in here. And so we're going to put this all together and see how it comes through. But again, the star in the center of everything and these beautiful cards here suggest that you are in for exactly what you want. It's just that locking it in for yourself can be a bit of a challenge, and we're going to see how. So let's start with the 2 main lines of the diamond, the central row. We've got the letter mouse and then the star, whip, and anchor. So the letter is a card of communication. It has everything to do with contact, email, possibly even phone calls, although it tends to be associated more with the written kind of communication. It's also about documents, paperwork, and things like that. And with the mouse, I feel that it could have been dragging, or it's been taking time, or you've needed to spend a lot of time on the details. Still, you overcome this, and with the star, you are able to achieve what you want. But then we have the whip and anchor here that suggest more problems down the line. And when I look at what T crosses the whip, I think this really has to do with a certain social situation, a group of people, or a certain environment. And it's almost like you have to make a stand in this environment in order to stand by what you want. So I think what you're after here, your goals, you are going to achieve them thanks to the anchor and the star and the other good stuff here. But it comes with a bit of a fight. It comes with maybe asking for what you want, or standing by what you want and not compromising your position. The garden is a card of community and society and groups. It can also be an event. And the clouds is about attention and the mind. And so when we see it with the whip, I think there is a clear indication of conflict and disagreement, people not being on the same page. So I think that what's coming through here is that there's a compromise that you need to make and a decision that comes with that. And we see this really through the cross. We'll get to this in just a bit. But you land on what you want. You're able to pursue what you want at this point. You've struggled to get it, to get to this point. And then you still have to face up to some kind of conflict or situation with some people here. Again, because of the anchor, I think you should really stand by yourself, have confidence in yourself. And if this means letting go of a certain situation or certain people, well, that's what it comes down to. But I don't think you should compromise your advantage at this point. And, you've been working hard for this. So claim you're good. And if there are naysayers, then too bad for them. You stand by yourself and by your ground. And also, it could be time to heal yourself, remove yourself from any range or possible types of toxic people, toxic situations. It can be a stressful environment, a stressful job, noisy people, noisy everything, and you don't want that right now. We'll see here that you're in for a bit of a journey, and at this point you need to shake out, the clutter and the noise and the toxicity, and if this means falling out with certain people or places, then that needs to happen. So in this central column, we have the cross, the flowers, and the star. So these three cards are very beautiful together. Sometimes the cross can be a bit challenging. It can suggest burdens and obligations and duties, so it feels a bit heavy. But with the flowers and star, it brings out the brighter aspects of the cross, suggesting matters of destiny and important decisions, and also aligning with the deeper lessons of life. And with the mountain and road here, it can mean a physical trip. Maybe you are picking up and going somewhere, and this is where there's a fallout with this environment, with this situation here. Maybe they don't want you to go, and you have to sort of wrestle your way out. That is possible, but the mountain can be associated with obstacles. And when we look at the cards around it, we have the clouds in here, we have the whip and the mouse on either sides of the diagonals. So this can suggest that the mountain is in fact an obstacle. But with the road and the star and these beautiful cards before it, it does suggest that you're able to move past a blockage. So you're about to turn the corner and find that you are able to release yourself from limitations, restrictions, and challenges in order to pursue this good that is coming your way. And in fact, not just the good, but really some big wishes here. So this can be really hopeful. Now, if you're contemplating a trip or traveling, I think this may be a good time for it. It's just that there could be some resistance, against this, some resistance for you leaving from this environment. But still, this is definitely a time to pursue your goals. If this means making bigger decisions, then so be it. It's a time to move forward and to get the obstacles out of the way. I also think that a message coming through these cards is that you are on the right track. And I think this is an important confirmation. If you're having doubts or you're not sure if what you're doing is in fact right for you, I think these are really supportive cards that help you figure that out. Now, looking at the portrait cards here, we do have a few beautiful lines, mainly because of the clover and star and clover and flowers. But we also have a couple of challenging cards in addition to the whip that we saw here. So we did look at this column here pointing to a fallout with a certain group. In the face of you pursuing your good, having to compromise, not having to compromise, but having to take a stand and not compromise what you're after. And here, it is a brighter column because the clover and the tree, they easily overcome the issues that we had with the mouse. So when we look at this mini portrait here, this is where we have the letter card, and so this is where you were working through maybe some paperwork, some communications to achieve what you want. And it can mean, especially because of the mouse and tree, that it may have dragged, a bit and it could have taken more time than you would have liked. But really with the clover and star, the message is it's okay if it drags on a little bit, because you are focusing on the detail and it does look like this is an important turn, what you're about to take. So it's okay. And in all cases, the issues or the annoyances and glitches that come through with the mouse are going to be very easily resolved. In the top here, we have a beautiful set of cards. We have the clover, flowers, and garden. And the garden is in this line and also in this diagonal and in this row here. So it does look like you are moving on from one place to another. It is probably part of the changes that you're making as you pursue your good, as you have the green light finally to move down this road. So the clover garden with the flowers here is a card of renewal. I think this is about taking space for yourself. And that was also my intuition earlier when I was looking at the mountain and road. I feel that you need space for yourself and you are making choices about the different kinds of people and places you associate with. And we certainly see that as well with the tree, star, and garden. So both of these lines are very positive in terms of you creating a space for yourself, spending a bit more time on your own. I'm also getting a sense of creativity and wanting to explore a bit more of your options, whatever it is you focus on. And I think in this situation here, you are facing some limitations. So where you are is probably not allowing you to grow as much as you'd like. It's not allowing you to express yourself in the ways that you want. And at this point, you don't want to block yourself anymore. At this point, you want to get this out of the way so you can pursue the things that you want, whatever it is, whether it's outright creativity like in the arts, or perhaps you want to learn certain things, or perhaps your job is not allowing you to do more. So at this point, you want to find more freedom and more elbow room to experience all of these things. And I think you will, but it's just that the transition into that is a little bit challenging. So as you turn the corner, you will be in a position to pursue more of what you want in alignment with your bigger goals. But the transition seems to be challenging. There are going to be people who are going to try to block you, and I suggest that you do not let them. I don't suggest that you compromise on this phase. It does look like the time is right for this. I'm really getting the signal from the cross here at the top, at the nice position, because this is the intentional position. And once you're past this, I think you'll be well on your way to pursue more of your ambitions and find yourself in a, in like a nurturing environment that helps you produce this creativity. We also have this row here. We have the tree, mountain, and clouds. Again, I feel that the clouds and mountain can be this obstacle, but in this case, it's a bit more psychological. So that is actually a good cue, good thing to consider. If you feel like you have inner limitations, then this is definitely a time to check in with yourself and see what are the patterns that are not helpful, that you could become more aware of and get them out of the way, along probably with their external component, because inside and out always mirror each other, and get them out of the way. The tree is a lovely card. It is all about wisdom and centeredness. It's also a very spiritual card, very much about well-being. So this is really about finding your ground, and I think finding new ground after you shake yourself out of, these restrictions here. Now, the mountain, like we said, can also be associated with a place abroad. We also have the element of place through the garden and possibly travel with the road. So that is a possibility for some of you. Maybe you're looking at a different place. Maybe you want to grow roots in a different place or have some kind of foothold in a different place. And that's what you're looking into right now. And I think this too is encouraged. It is well starred. But again, as you transition through this, there can be, some considerations, some issues that you work through. And the second diagonal here actually is very supportive of this, because when we see the clouds and clover together, it is a clear and specific message that suggests that you should get the negativity and the doubts out of the way. And with the beautiful star here, it is really an encouragement that you shouldn't doubt yourself. So I think this is a lovely message that helps you connect with what you want, and also to stop doubting yourself and don't hesitate anymore. Really engage your higher self, your creativity, these things that you have in you that you want to spend time on. You know, give yourself a chance to do this at this time. This is the right time for this. Now we can also look at a few messages through the inner diamond and the outer diamond. The mouse, flowers, whip, and mountain. This can be a bit of a challenging set of cards here through the mouse, mountain, and whip. These are blockages. These are real blockages that you're working through. And you know what? When you get over these kinds of blockages, you can unleash a lot of power. And I think sometimes people, you know, they sort of shy away from their own power. And with the flowers here, it's a pretty powerful healing card. And we also have the clover and star. So I think you will be able to overcome this. But I also feel that what you want to do is to see those limitations for what they are. And I mean by that being honest with yourself and squarely looking at what could be limiting you inside and outside, and then making the decision to release these so that you can be in a place, in a space where you can pursue your higher good, pursue your ambitions. And these can be very big questions, and sometimes they're more day-to-day questions. So it's going to come down to you, where you are right now in your journey, or whatever intention you have focused on for this reading. But in general, the main message here is to pursue your good, give yourself permission to pursue your good, manage whatever paperwork or communication is needed. That's the easy part. And then releasing those blockages inside and out, as we see here, so that you can pursue your good. And then once you do that, we see that you will be well on your way, you know, to achieve this. And the anchor on this side of the diamond is a lovely message indeed, because it is a card of security and it is about landing, you know, so there's this idea of arriving. So you sort of wiggle yourself out, you wrestle your way through, and then you arrive at this space and situation where you have the confidence to pursue your good. And again, the star in the center is just really beautiful. We've got the letter clover and cross into the garden and anchor here. So again, a confirmation of landing, of arriving and achieving. And these two together are just lovely cards. You know, this is more of a spiritual message here that you are on the right track, and also taking the signs and accepting them. You know, there are signs. With the letter, it can be, you know, a green light in a very tangible way, but I also feel there is a deeper intuitive element at play here for you. And then in the bottom side of the diamond, we've got the letter tree, into the road, clouds, and anchor. Again, you know, this idea of arriving, you know, the road indicating a journey. With the clouds, it's a bit of a bumpy ride, but you do land on this path that nurtures what you're after, that supports what you want to do in the coming phase. And it's this letter and tree here is actually a really nice combination. It's another specific combination that suggests that there's news that comes through that grows into something beautiful. So it is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight, I feel, but you are on the right track, and it's really about protecting your path, you know, and it's like, you know, you move forward and these things come in your way, and you need to be aware that they compromise your journey, so you sort of get them out of the way so that you can pursue your good. So I feel that there's a lot of potential here, and it is about embracing your potential, embracing what you're about, what you're capable of, and creating space, time, and the journey for you to be able to pursue these things. A bit of a conflict with some people, places, certain environments. That's the tougher part. The easier part is just getting, you know, the like if it's paperwork or even other practicalities around it, out of the way, and then creating that space and taking a stand and protecting your path so that you can achieve that. So let me know how you like these ideas, folks. I'm really looking forward to your comments. Again, if you are interested in the Lenormand method, this is a pretty unique way of doing cards. I offer one of the few end-to-end courses and programs for this available out there. All of it is in the description box. Please have a look through. And I also offer private readings, as you might expect. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm delighted you stopped by, and really thank you for this. And I hope to see you next time. So until then, take very good care of yourself. Okay, here we are with the Maybe Lenormand, and we are looking at what you're about to find when you turn this corner. With this deck, I'm going to draw a 3x5, and I'm just shuffling the cards a little bit here to seal the intention. Let's go right ahead and deal out your cards. Okay, so these are some lovely cards almost across the board. We do have the whip, we have the scythe, and when I see these three cards here that are knighted to each other through the scythe, it can bring a challenge, but the key theme that I'm picking up for you is that you're in for relationships, a new social environment. The people element is very, very much highlighted across the board in almost all of the cards that bring up relationships in the deck. Your first card is the Garden. This is a social card. In the center, we have the man. It brings up a person. We also have the woman. We have the heart. We have the dog, the rider, and the house. And all of these can represent people. We're only missing the ring to represent a close relationship. So there is plenty to indicate a person here, or people, or the social environment. The rider can also contribute, and we also have this beautiful pair of the sun and moon that represents a love relationship. So just looking at your cards in this 3x5, you're about to turn this corner and find people, a relationship, a new relationship, something going on the people front. It is very much a spread about being social and the relationship element in your life. Let's look at the corner cards. We have the Garden and Sun and the House, the Garden and Moon and the House and Sun. And there are some parallels between these two pairs. So first, like I said, the Sun and Moon represents love, and then the House and the Garden both represent the idea of a place. I think this is very much about a community, big or small. The garden can be associated with larger communities like, society at large, and the house tends to be a bit more intimate. When we take the house and garden together, it can point to a place, a group. It can also point to the job and your home, and things that are a bit more specific. But the key here is really about being part of a group, being part of a community. And this is very much and very clearly highlighted in terms of what's ahead for you when you turn this corner. In the center, we have the man. So this is a person card. It can represent, just about anyone, but it's typically someone who is pretty relevant to your life, pretty close, not necessarily a love relationship, but I do think, with the sun and moon and the woman, it might very much point to that. So clearly you could meet someone, you could connect with some people. The people element is very much at play here. And we could connect the man with the garden, with the moon. This is very positive, suggesting a meeting, an invitation, and the house and sun. Maybe things can get a bit more intimate. Now, I did say that we do have a couple of challenging cards, and they are knighted to each other with the heart. But let's see how much these cards are going to have an impact. So let's go ahead and weave these rows and columns together. We have the garden, whip, and woman, heart, and sun. Now, the whip can be challenging, and it can point to an argument or a disagreement with someone. But I think with the heart and sun, there is a positive resolution. I have to say that the whip can also be sexual at times, and we do have the lily, which can bring this up further. So this can refer to a healthy physical life, if you like. Attraction, physical attraction may well be at play here. I really like that the line wraps up with the sun, and it's not just this line, but it's this whole column here that is on the right side that is very positive thanks to the tree and the sun and moon, of course. So possibly some physical action here, some attraction, some chemistry, and even if it were a challenge, I think it is positively resolved. In the second row, we have the rider, bear, and the man, dog, and tree. Now, the thing about the dog is that it is the card of friends and friendships and not so much love relationships, especially with the heart, at least in my dictionary. When I see it with the ring, then it points to this idea of a love relationship growing out of a friendship. So that's that. So the rider and bear with the man, the rider is actually quite helpful here because when it comes to love and relationships, it tends to be associated with a knight in shining armor type of situation. And with the bear, this can be a bigger deal. This can be an important relationship that's in the making for you. And the dog and tree on the other side can mean that first a friendship is developing. And really the tree is helpful here because it tells you to take your time with the relationship. We do have the sun and moon on this column, the man and woman. These really support a love relationship. But what we're seeing in the second row is perhaps that an important relationship kicks off and that for the time being or for a while, you want to focus on getting to know this person as a friend. Still helpful and supportive and realistic, I would say. Now the bottom row, the house, lily, scythe and stork, and the moon. Now this is curious because it points to changes, lifestyle changes. The house and stork, yes, they're not immediately adjacent to each other, but the house and stork are very much about a house move. In fact, it is the combination of a house move. So together, they very clearly indicate that. The lily is about your life and your lifestyle and your life path, but we see it next to the scythe and the stork. So I'm seeing a deep change here in terms of your life and your lifestyle, and the moon brings about positive changes. The moon is normally gradual, but I have to say that these cards are not very gradual. They tend to be a bit sharper. So it's really interesting here because what could be happening is that your relationships can affect your lifestyle. Maybe you make changes in where you live, how you live, that brings about more opportunities to be with people, or you become more involved with people. The social element takes on a new kind of position in your life. And it's also possible that you'd been a bit more living inwardly, if you like, a bit more private. But with the scythe and stork on this side, you probably break open a bit more, you're a bit more social, you're getting out of your shell. And with the moon here, it feels really good. So these are some really nice cards to see for you. And I do think that you're about to engage a lot more in relationships. And you're going to make your life a bit more social. So it's going to be more dynamic in this way. You could be moving physically or making other tangible changes that create more space for relationships, or perhaps your lifestyle in a deeper sense can change and you become more open to a relationship. Now, if you're already in a relationship, then I think what happens here is great. I think you could be looking at becoming more serious about it, maybe making changes with how you live. Possibly you move in to live together. You know, things like that can be happening because what we're seeing in this row is very clear with regards to how you live, your lifestyle, and, you know, sort of creating space. Really, really cool cards. Okay, let's move on to the rows. We have the garden, rider, and house. This is very clearly about meetings, get-togethers, gatherings, visitors, going to see people, dating, all of this is here. I really think the physical aspect of the cards comes through. This is about getting together with people, meeting people, inviting people, receiving people. All of this is figuring here. So again, a very clear suggestion and indication of what you're about to find when you turn the corner. I think a relationship, but also more generally and more deeply, you are creating more space for people in your life. Now the Whip and Bear and Lily, this is interesting. It's a little bit off compared to other cards and combinations here. The Whip and Bear can point to competition. And the Bear and Lily tends to be associated with matters of the law, but of course it's not exactly like that in this context. First, the Bear and Whip. Well, that could be a rival. That could be competition in a relationship. And with the Lily, it may have been a long-standing situation. The Lily is a calm card. And so I think that you may be best not to be too involved in the competition here, if this is what applies. But also what we could be looking at is a change away from certain people. So this ties in nicely with what we saw in the bottom row, the idea that you're making deeper changes in your life and your lifestyle. And in the process, you could be releasing, let's say, certain people, from your life. And I say that because like we saw in the top row, the Whip and Garden figure together. So maybe that's what's happening here for some of you. So some kind of competition, some kind of confrontation, and the purpose of that is deeper change and also the possibility of arrival. Now, if we tie in the Whip with this interesting triplet here, which is in the center portrait, it's possible that there is a fall through of another person, and maybe this gives way for your relationship. This is possible. And I do think that a relationship ensues because on the right side of your 3x5, we have the Sun and Moon in this beautiful column. So I think the outcome for you is a positive relationship. So something falls out here. It could be any number of things in your context. Unhelpful people, unhelpful situation, inner, outer limitations, arrival. All of these are possible. And again, because the Lily is a card of change, it's a card of lifestyle and the bigger picture of your life, with the Whip and Bear, you could be making some deeper changes. For some of us, welcoming a relationship in life can be a big deal. Some people are already in the flow and relationships are such a big deal. But for some of us, we're a bit more closed off. And so creating space for a relationship can be a bit of a bigger deal. And this is what could be happening here, where you're shaking up a little bit your foundations, bottom row, this column, and creating space for that. Now, the Woman, Man, and Scythe, I have to say this can be separation, and also like I just said, the Whip and Scythe and the Heart, these knights and this central column here, maybe a previous relationship is falling out. Maybe this person is leaving their previous relationship, or maybe you're leaving your relationship to create space for this new one, but there is a sharp change that results in a relationship. We have the Heart, Dog, and Stork. Again, the Stork being a card of changes. It can kick things off, kick off a relationship, kick off a friendship, or change a relationship. And then finally, the Sun with the Moon is beautiful combination for love. And with the Tree, there is a positive evolution here. It's really hard to overlook the relationship element in your spread. You are definitely going to turn this corner and land on a relationship, focus on relationships, be more social, create change in your life to welcome more people in your life, and also focus on a specific relationship. And for some of you, there can be a rival whom I think falls out of the picture, and then you win over this relationship. I can't say that this is not a possible scenario. I can't say that it doesn't happen in life. It does. And we're seeing it captured in these cards. And I think you gain the upper hand, you get the advantage here. So that could be a relieving message for some of you. We have the bear scythe and woman with the dog here. So again, this can refer to the person who falls out because of the scythe, or again, some changes in the relationship, possibly ones that kick off a relationship. And then in the outer diamond, we have the rider, woman, tree, and scythe. The tree and scythe to me is a kind of uprooting. So again, I'm picking up a deep change that is happening here. And this can take different forms depending on your specifics. You're making lifestyle changes, or there can be relationship changes, or there can be other circumstances that sort of kick things off and shuffle things around so that you land on this very beautiful message of a relationship. So I would say overall, these are some really beautiful cards, very supportive of love, attraction, relationships, friendships, being social. You can look forward to some changes in this regard, but they advantage you. So there's like a reshuffling, a change, probably a deeper one. And this results in a new relationship or in the deepening of a relationship. I do think that it's possible because of the sun and moon here with the dog and star heart nearby, that the relationship deepens and becomes a lot more about love and, you know, that kind of chemistry and alchemy. And also there's a strong physical aspect here that can drive a lot of the chemistry and the attraction in the relationship. And that's for love. Now, friendships are equally well starred. Again, there can be some changes and reshufflings. Maybe some factors need to be removed, and they are. And this might be part of the reshuffling. I'm not seeing that it is very challenging for you. Yes, there is the whip, but I feel in general the energy is more relieving and releasing. I'm not seeing a negative pain kind of factor, even though we do have the whip. Instead, it just feels like a shakeout, you know, and it seems to affect this rival person. To wrap up, let's look at a few diagonals. We've got the garden, bear, scythe into the dog and sun. So this is great for making changes in your social environment. I think you're going to welcome some new relationships here. It's positive. And also the bear with the garden can be someone who's a bit dominant, you know, someone who's a bit overbearing. And the thing about the scythe and the other cards and the whip on top here is that maybe they're shaken out. So you stand your ground again and you regain your position within a group or with people or in your relationships. And you're not going to be a bully, bullied. You're not going to take anyone's, like imposing and overbearing attitude at all. I think you'll be able to shake them out of the picture successfully. And then the other one is house, bear, woman, dog, and moon. So this is where I feel you take a better stand here and you're empowered in your friendships, in yourself, in your relationships, and you have support. Again, very, very, very social, very focused on people. The rider, lily, man, heart, and tree is lovely. This can become a serious relationship for the longer term. And then the rider, whip, man, stork, and tree is again the changes that I think are happening. So it could be that this man releases one relationship for you. I can't dismiss that. Or other changes are in the cards for him, for you. You know, again, there's that shaking out of things in order to land in a more secure situation when it comes to friendships and relationships. And that can manifest in different ways for you. Just wrapping up with the three central cards here, we have the bear, man, and dog, and this clearly points to an important relationship. So you're about to turn the corner and connect with someone. This is for the longer term. This is an important person. I do think it points to love and romance and that, but if it doesn't apply to you, then in the very least, it is someone supportive. And like I said, there can be a shakeup a little bit in your social kind of environment or the social side of your life, but it's for the better. It's for the better. Rivals, you know, overbearing people, I think they're gonna be overcome in one way or another, and then you will land on this lovely situation here with this person. So a very clear social aspect around the corner for you. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it plays out. Let me just throw in there one more possibility, is that if you're focused on work, I think you can do really well as well. You can land a good collaboration, a great job, the right team. Yes, there can be some reshufflings here. Maybe some people are laid off, let go, or perhaps there was an issue with someone. Maybe some manager is tough, but you resolve that and you land on a good place for the longer term. It feels stable and secure. So just throwing that in there as well. So I was wrapping up. I was saying beautiful cards for love, relationships, your social life, some changes happening, possibly some deeper ones, but they are good. They help you create a healthy space for your relationships. And I think you could be coming out of your shell a little bit. So very, very beautiful cards. Focus on trust, on friendships. No need to rush anything. It's really just the changes that allow this to happen. But then it's really when you're in this space, peaceful, easygoing relationships, nothing really to achieve, just really enjoying the connection. So let me know how you like these cards. I'm really looking forward to your comments. Please make sure you leave me a couple of lines in the comments so I get a sense of what this is doing for you. And if you are interested in Lenormand, you might know that I'm one of the few people out there who offers the end-to-end course and program for this. Lenormand tends to be a little bit all over the place. Unfortunately, it's a much smaller kind of niche kind of cards here. So I've spent a lot of time building a structure around Lenormand. So let me know if you're interested. All of the links, the helpful links, are in the description box. Have a look through. And of course, I offer private readings if you're interested in that. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm so glad that you visited. Please be sure to like and subscribe so that you get more readings with this amazing deck. Until we meet again, as always, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. Okay, here we are with the Silhouettes deck, and for your reading, I'm going to do a large diamond. I've done it in another one of the readings today, and I am resonating with the spread right now, and so I want to do one as well. Remember, we are focusing on what you're about to find when you turn this corner, and I'm ready to deal out your cards. Let's go right ahead and do that. Okay, these are some pretty cards. The flowers in the middle of your diamond tells me that you could find something that you may have lost, or that you can renew something that sort of fell apart a little bit. And we have the whip on the earlier side of the diamond. The flowers is a card of reunion, of things coming back together. It is also a card of forgiveness, of resolutions in these ways. It's like bringing back into the picture something that had fallen out. And the reason is because the flowers is a card associated with spring. So it tends to indicate this idea of coming back, the return of something. And that's why it's also associated with forgiveness. But it's also a very joyous card, and it can deliver on your wishes and your hopes. So it can be a wish fulfillment card. On top of that, we have the star, which is the main card of wish fulfillment. And we have the heart on this side. So when we look at these two corner cards in light of the central card, there's a lot of happiness that we are seeing. If we look at the other corner cards, we have the stork and snake. This can point to a change in the face of a disappointment. And we have the whip here on the earlier side of the diamond. So I really feel that you may have fallen out with someone, you may have argued with someone, maybe something was lost, there was a challenging phase that you went through, but now when you turn this corner, you will find that this is resolved. And on this side, we have the house, surrounded by some pretty cards here and pretty combinations. So I feel that maybe you might have fallen out from a relationship, or maybe from some kind of circumstance, more broadly speaking, and then here you find it again. So again, the flowers is a card of renewal, forgiveness, and of turning the page. You do see a strong indication of turning the page here. So let's go ahead and focus on the details here through all of the lines. The star, whip, and flowers into the house and heart. So again, I feel this is a very clear message of having gone through an issue here, having fallen out, a conflict. And then on the other side here, there is a happy combination between the house and heart that brings a happy home, a happy space. The house can be your home and family, or it can be a group of people, like a more intimate kind of connection here. And with the flowers, there is that sense of renewal. So it's really the flowers coming after the whip being earlier in the line, that gives us this message. It's that there was an issue, there was a challenge, and then it is resolved, there is forgiveness. And the renewal is like anchored in this house where it brings the situation together. It can be people, it can be a team, it can be a group, it can be a specific person, and it can be on the home front. So some happy, positive resolutions that are going to put you in a good space are ahead. In the central column, we have the stork, child, and flowers, and the cross and snake. Now, this is really interesting. The child and flowers is definitely a combination of renewal and the new. Interesting that the stork and child is the combination of pregnancy. It tends to be associated with children. So if that's what you're after, then I think you may have gone through some challenges, and now you can look forward to whatever it is, growing a family, having a first child, or focusing on your children in this positive way. And this may be just for some of you. More broadly speaking, we're looking at a new chapter. And the stork is a card of change. It's a card of release. So it really helps get things off your back, shakes things up, clears the air, so you can turn the page into this wonderful new beginning. The cross and snake are a curious combination. I do think they warn you against someone, but I think you're able to put them in place. And you could be turning away from this negativity that's associated with them. I think you're able to move past it. At the same time, the snake is at the bottom of your diamond, and the bottom side of the diamond tends to be associated with the outcome or what manifests, so there is possibly, I'm picking up a bit of envy here. It could be attached to this person that the issue that you'd been through may have been about. And when you move forward, like when you're able to put this behind you, there seems to be still some lingering issues with this person. And with the cross, I would suggest that you just move away from them. So in a way, instead of this person being in your face, you can just put them aside and rebuild your connections and rebuild your faith in the situation without her being in the picture. And I really think it might be her, because when we look at this column, it is the most challenging aspect of your diamond. The whip and mouse points to challenges here. And this is someone who seems to be probably disrespectful, demeaning, someone like that, a bit of a troublemaker as well. And this may have affected you, but I think now you're ready to turn the page. And even though her influence seems to remain in the picture, I think you're able to downgrade her influence, if you like, and sort of, just put it in place. I also think that you could be making some important decisions, possibly some sacrifices, but I don't think much that weighs too much on you, weighs too heavily on you. I think what we're seeing here is a change of perspective. And this is, maybe it sounds casual, but actually when you change your perspective, it can change your world, because it's like a paradigm shift. And when I see the flowers in light of the cross, which is a deep card of destiny and lessons learned and spiritual matters, along with the snake, which also has it's associated with knowledge and wisdom in its own way. And in view of the issues here, it's like you're changing perspectives and you're rising above it. Okay, I do think the influence The negativity of this influence remains in the picture, but I think because of the flowers in your core in the center here, you're able to downsize it. And I think there can be a bit of envy around you, what you're about, just, people and their envy sometimes. I find it mysterious, but it exists. So that is what's at play here. What's key is that you turn the page and you're willing to re-engage and move on and re-engage with your faith and your sense of enthusiasm and joy and happiness. And people who want to cover your joy, these are the people you move away from. In this column, since we read this one, we've got the bird, house, and tower. The bird and house is a combination of usually announcements because the bird is associated with all things vocal. It is a verbal communication card. And with the house, I take it to mean like an announcement, like there's noise and news. But it can also be a gathering, where there's a conversation, discussions, debates. And with the tower, it could either be something from the past, which I think figures nicely because the flowers is about renewal. Or it can be a place of work because the tower can be associated with that. So we look at this in light of the flowers and we see that there's a new opportunity here to be part of something. And this something can be a workplace, a team, a group of people, and possibly, likely, a place that you'd been with in the past. But what we're seeing here is maybe there was a fallout with this place, but now you reconnect with it. So when you turn this corner, I think the key message is you're going to find forgiveness and a reconnection, coming back together. So this is really, really positive. We look at the rose as well before we look at the mini crosses here. I think they're pretty relevant for the structure of your diamond. We've got the woman, child, and bird. So this can be part of the renewal or something new altogether. There can be a new person who comes into the picture, a new stream of conversations, and also you could be renewing communication with this place like we saw. So maybe this person is different from this one. In fact, I think there could be several people at play because when you look at the woman in different lines, they're very different dynamics. So in here, there's like a new line of communication, which I think is part of this forgiveness and renewal thing that is washing away this past chapter. And then the mouse, cross, and tower. Again, we're seeing the cross as, part of the mouse and snake here, this idea that as you move on, there still remains some kind of negative influence in the environment. But I think with the cross here, it's like maybe it's not going to go away, if you see what I mean. It's just you who changes how you deal with it. The cross and tower is also a pretty spiritual pair. There are 2 of the 3 or 4 cards, or 5, that point to the deeper destiny matters in life. So this is about guidance and the bigger things in life. And so I think when I see this in light of what happened here, I feel that you're growing above it. I'm getting this message a few times already. So the petty stuff, and the mouse is actually petty because it's all things small. Maybe not so much the snake, but the mouse is. So the petty people, it's like you're able to rise above them and refocus on different aspects of the situation. They don't have to be part of it. They're sort of in there, but they don't affect you in the same way anymore. It's like you have a new consciousness about these things, a deeper awareness, and you grow and you rise above it. So this is actually really good. And it's like you shed old skin. You see what I mean? So again, this forgiveness, growth, and evolution that we're seeing in your cards really helps manifest a greater sense of security in your life. And whatever that situation was with this person, I think you can resolve it, and there's good news around it, and you're able to move on from it and to have a different awareness and consciousness about it. We have the women, flowers, and tower. So again, I feel this is reconnecting with someone from the past, or it can mean that you have a new sense of success, especially if this is about this place here, the job, or things like that. There is also a sense of creativity, and you could be setting yourself up for success over the long term. The mouse, flowers, and bird is a renewal in communication. Again, I think something fell out in the past and now we are seeing a renewal. So it could have been that you fell out, they fell out, the whole situation sort of fell apart. But now there is an opportunity to get in touch again, to be in communication again, like we saw here and here, and to forgive what has happened, what has gone by. And this results in a new, a reconnection with this place, this environment, or these people, or the situation, depending on what's happening with you. And there's like bonding hearts, you know, as we see through the heart, and it does wrap up this side of the diamond. So very beautiful cards. The message is clear. The specific message and what is unique to this layout is that there is a resolution to a past problem. There is forgiveness and a turning of the page. So this is a bright message, in my opinion, as you turn this corner. Now, there is a few more lines we can read, and these tie into the mini crosses here. We've got 4 of them. We've got the child one, the whip one, the house one, and the cross one. So these central cards, actually, we can connect into the whip, child, house, and cross. Again, we see the whip in the past or the earlier sides of the story. There was a challenge here with the cross. It could have been quite a heavy problem. And with the child and house, again, there's a new chapter, there's a new turning of the page. I think also a message that is coming through from these cards is that you need to let go as well. So you need to do your part to let this go and to forgive. And that will bring in the new. With the cross here, there can be some lessons that you need to learn. There can be a karmic factor as well. Possibly a sowing and reaping kind of dynamic that is happening now and that you're becoming aware of. And then we can also read the outer diamond, of course. We've got the star, woman, into the stork, bird, and heart. So again, I'm seeing here positive communications, positive changes, release, forgiveness, healing through the star. And the bird brings positive communication. So this can actually mean good news, like straight up in a straightforward way, where you hear again from someone. And here, the star, we've got the mouse and snake together into the tower and heart. Again, because the tower is located here and it can be associated with the past, I really feel that this is about healing a past hurt, a past chapter that was difficult, that we've captured very clearly through the cards around the whip here. So overall, I think the message is pretty clear for you, and there's plenty of details around it, but I think that it's really the main message that matters for this reading, and that is you're about to turn the corner and let go of this challenge. You're about to turn the corner and find that you're able to forgive and move on, and find that you're able to let this go. Do your part with it, you know, affirm forgiveness, be willing to let it go, and you'll find that it sort of, you know, it goes away. It like falls off. And you also turn the corner to find contact, reconnection, getting in touch again, communication, news that helps resolve this past chapter. So you're about to turn the corner and feel renewed. You're about to turn the page into a new chapter. Whatever has passed can be let go, and you could be in touch again with someone or some people from this past situation. So I think these are beautiful cards of relief and release. And again, if there remains this negative influence, I think you can downplay it at this point. You can downsize it and just demote it to something petty that you don't need to pay attention to. And it's really your consciousness and your willingness to grow beyond this that is going to help you do that as you embrace the new possibilities that comes with turning this corner. So I think some really nice cards with spiritual penchant here for you. Always good to grow and change and to focus on forgiveness and, you know, what you're about, what you're doing, what you allow certain influences to affect you in a certain way in your life. Always good to take stock of these things and to grow and become more mature and more connected, you know, with your life. And you don't want to waste time on this petty stuff, right? It's time now to put it behind you and move on to a new chapter. So some lovely cards, pretty special as far as I'm concerned. Like, I read a lot, and so sometimes cards come together and they have a pretty unique message, and I think this is one of them. So I'm always looking forward to your comments. Please drop me a line or two. Let me know what's happening, what you're forgiving, what you want to let go of. Do these, you know, positive affirmations of forgiveness and let it go and move yourself forward. And if you're interested in the Lenormand method, you might know that I'm one of the few people out there who has like a more comprehensive approach to learning and mastering the cards, because Lenormand tends to be a little bit all over the place, unfortunately. It's a very niche and specialized kind of approach to reading the cards and a unique deck. So I've made it my mission to, you know, focus on this and make it available to you. All the links are in the description box. And of course, I do offer private readings for those of you who are interested, and I have plenty of other resources, so have a look through. As always, thank you so much for tuning in here. Please like and subscribe so that you can get my coming readings. And until then, thank you again so much, and take very good care of yourself.